Out of is that a new beard? I'm trying to something looks different. My name is Jumaane Williams, and I'm running for governor of the state of New York.
My name is María Archila, and I am running for lieutenant governor of the state of New York.
Thank you so much for talking with me today, Jumaane and Anna Maria. Jumaane, you are the New York City public advocate. Why did you decide to run for governor?
Great question. It took me a while to actually decide to run. As public advocate, we're using the tools that we have to move forward a better New York City and a better New York State by extension. And then it's like, at some point, if I can just stop advocating and actually have the tools to just do the thing, instead of continuing to push others, if I can just be in the space to actually make it happen, that would be awesome. This is a rare opportunity. We lost tens of thousands of New Yorkers, I keep saying, during this pandemic. And everybody keeps saying we want to go back to normal. And I keep saying, hold on. I do want to normalize our lives, but I do not want to go back to normal because that didn't work for most New Yorkers. And what we see is people still trying to do normal things that happened before the pandemic that got us here in the first place. And the one thing we can do in the honor of the folks we lost is not go back to normal, the reason that we got so bad in the first place. So I figured it was time to try and step up and see what I can do to make the change I'm pushing for.
Anna Maria, have you always wanted to run for public office? What made you decide to run for LT governor now?
I have never aspired to run for public office, but after 20 years of being a community organizer, building organizations that allow working class immigrants, Black and brown folks, regular people build power together, I looked at the state of New York and just could not sit still. I believe that in these moments, we have to have elected officials that are deeply rooted in the communities that need government to work the most. And that we need people to honor the courage of our communities and of our families who fight for one another. And that's, I think, what Jumaane embodies and what these sort of Our Ticket Together aims to do in New York.
Thank you. Starting with you, Jumaane, what do you think are the biggest problems with the U.S. healthcare system and the healthcare system in New York? And what changes are necessary to address those problems?
Healthcare is just more of a business. And whenever someone is focused on making money, that can cloud the decisions that are being made. You know, people often talk about income inequality. I try to talk about resource inequality. I think people should make more money for sure. I don't know if everybody's gonna ever make the same amount, but whether you can live or die because you don't have access to healthcare, it's just inhumane. So, you know, I believe in universal healthcare. I believe in the New York Health Act in New York State to make sure everybody has access, but it's just money. It's just being able to fund these things instead of allowing all that money to amass in just a few folks' pocket. We have the money, and you know, in New York State, a budget was held up not because people were fighting to get health care. It's because we had a governor trying to get $1 billion to a billionaire, and that's not an exaggeration.
Yes, I mean, we have a healthcare system that is for profit for the most part, and people get sick and go bankrupt, and people get sick and lose their homes. And so we have a system that doesn't make sense in a country that is one of the richest countries in the world and the only rich nation that doesn't have universal healthcare.
How do we build that better healthcare system, and what role do you see for yourself in that effort?
Well, I think that we build a better healthcare system by investing in our resources, our public resources, in healthcare and all the things that working families need. So in the state of New York, for example, we have a governor that is very interested, that forced as part of the negotiations of the budget, the inclusion of a $600 million, actually an $850 million investment in a stadium in Buffalo for the benefit of someone who is a billionaire. So instead of putting almost $1 billion in the stadium, we should put $1 billion in healthcare. But I think the way to achieve this is to elect different people. We will not achieve this if we continue to elect people whose alliances and whose power comes from real estate and the wealthy few. So electing someone like Jumaane, whose power really comes from the people that raised the communities that raised him and elected him and continue to support him, takes bolder and bolder steps. That is the theory of change to achieve a different healthcare system, a truly universal healthcare system. I remember when Jumaane won the election for public advocate and used that moment to talk about mental health. And it was a moment that was so powerful because it's very rare that we have leaders who are willing to be vulnerable. And Jumaane just marries these vulnerability with so much strength and resilience. And I think that these kind of humanity is so lacking in our politics.
Who is someone you consider to be a hero in your life, and why?
Miss Jeannie Ned, that's my 5th grade teacher. I always shout her out. They would have kicked me out of school if it wasn't Miss Ned. She had a thing for troublemaking Black boys in particular. She was the first person to recognize. She didn't call it Tourette, she didn't know what it was, but I remember her saying, "I know you're not doing it on purpose." And that was amazing to have somebody. As my therapist pointed out, the magic of Miss Ned is to have somebody see through all of the bad stuff and just see you. And so that's amazing. So I want to make sure I put her out there.
I want to give each of you 30 seconds to pitch the other. Jumaane, we'll start with you first. Why Anna for Lieutenant Governor?
First of all, Anna is awesome. Second of all, she believes in a truly equitable and just system and understands the work it takes to get there. I also believe that she will do her best to work with me to get that done. I also know and believe that if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, there will come a time where she will let me know it privately and then publicly. And I think that's what this state needs and has been missing in a lieutenant governor for a very, very long time, which is why we got to where we are. And unfortunately, we're still dealing with that. And so New York State is well served by a lieutenant governor like María Archila.
Jumaane is awesome. Jumaane is also brilliant, so uniquely able to speak about the realities of New Yorkers who need government to work, New Yorkers who need government to protect the rights of young people to be able to walk in their streets in safety, in dignity, without being sandwiched between violence and over-policing, the realities of New Yorkers who are struggling to stay in their homes because the rent is too high or afraid of evictions, the realities of New Yorkers who are not making enough to make ends meet. And he is not only uniquely able to speak about the experiences of New Yorkers, but also to listen to the solutions that people have. And I have seen Jumaane just energize crowds and remind everyone that democracy is the way that we take care of one another, that by engaging in these work together, we can build a more just society. And he is not just an amazing leader, but one of the most effective leaders we have had in New York City. And we would be so lucky to have Jumaane as our governor.
Thank you, I appreciate that. It was more than 30 seconds though.
Colombians don't do 30 seconds.
And just, my wife, she let me know how much she loved your energy. You have amazing energy with where she is.
That's awesome. She's incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful to get some quality time together. Much love to both of you.
Thank you, Adi.
Thank you for the space, and you stay inspiring me. So thank you so much. Peace and blessing, love and light to you all.
Yes, thank you. What a treat. Bye.